Welcome to my podcast, Giving You a Fresh Start After Trauma. I'm Regina Sanchez, your host, and I'm so glad you're here. Starting over after trauma can be a blend of real pain and some hope, sadness and then some joy. It's a mixture of moments of faith and then moments of fear. There will be times when you'd rather not remember, but then times of excitement. You may fail along the way, but if you keep moving forward, your discouragement will turn to peace. Some days you may feel like giving up, and other days you're running in your race to victory. That, my friend, is a journey of having a fresh start after trauma. And if you are in any of these places and need some encouragement, you have stopped at the right place. Let's journey together to giving you a fresh start after trauma. Join me now to be revived, rejuvenated, and restored to a place of living free from your past emotional pain. Hi, friends. Welcome to my podcast, Giving You a Fresh Start After Trauma. I'm delighted you're here, and I hope that this message will encourage you and give you hope. Let's get started. Today's podcast is called Healing Trauma or Healed Trauma Confirmed Through My Quilting. Yeah, that's right. Sometimes we receive healing regarding a hurt or a wound in our life, but we don't realize that we were healed until something similar happens again. That's exactly what happened to me. Recently I saw an image and I had to save it, which is what propelled this teaching and this, blog post and podcast that I'm doing. There's so much truth in this statement that I'm going to say, and I'm going to expand on it further. I've been through so much healing in my life, and the Lord has beautifully healed me from several abuses. And like I said, I recently had confirmation of that. But this is the statement. You gotta resurrect the deep pain within you and give it a place to live that's not within your body. Let it live in art. Let it live in writing. Let it live in music. Let it be devoured by building brighter connections. Your body is not a coffin for pain to be buried in, but put it somewhere else. And that was a statement by, Iham Ora. I think I'm pronouncing that name right. But we don't want to resurrect the pain to just bring more trauma. We want to resurrect the pain and have the creator of the universe bring you healing. So for me, it wasn't until I started quilting did I realize that the verbal abuse I endured from my dad was healed. Oh my gosh, what a delight it had been when I really came to terms with it. Now, the Lord has healed me tremendously from my sexual abuse and other abuses. But this particular abuse, this one that was so embedded, the verbal abuse of being made to believe that I was stupid, was so embedded in my being that, I had chipped away at it. But I think I finally came to terms with, God has healed it. We all need something in our life that helps us use the creativity that God placed in our lives. Creativity is something we all have, no matter what you think. And using your creativity, it doesn't mean you're this fabulous pianist or a beautiful painter. I mean, it could. But your creativity could be just creating a beautiful garden or just a vase full of flowers. It could be writing poetry or designing a beautiful memory book. Or maybe it's designing a beautifully decorated home for you and your family. My point is, we all have a creative gift in our life, and we must release the expression of that gift. So that statement that I read so moved me because I realized that God had given me another level of healing. And I had that confirmation through my quilting. Let me explain. Years ago when I was in high school, and that was years ago, I would sew most of my clothes. Did I love it? Yes and no, but not really. Because you see, I got frustrated so many times while I was sewing and learning to make something new. And God bless my mother for her patience. Because you see, I had that stupidity so ingrained in my belief system from my dad that the minute I came upon a stumbling block in the pattern or in sewing, and I couldn't understand what it was saying, I got frustrated and angry because in my head I was hearing those words that I was stupid. And I believed those words. Or if I made a mistake and I had to take it apart to redo it, I wanted to rip it up and just give up. I would get angry. But my very patient mom would help me get through it. And sometimes she would even take it apart and fix it for me. Gosh, I was so difficult to work with back then. Well, I didn't pursue sewing after, my high school years, but in my late 20s, I had made some window treatments for a home we were moving into. And some of those window treatments were a little tricky, but I had the help of my sister one time when she came to visit me, and another time when my mom came to visit me, that they got me through it. And I made the beautiful window treatments. But then I put aside sewing until about 5 years ago. I began expressing a desire to learn to quilt. So my lovely daughter gave me a Christmas gift of a beginner's quilting class and a gift card to purchase the fabric that was needed. Well, I had all the supplies. I bought everything. I was all ready to get started. I was so excited. And then COVID hit, and the class was postponed, and then postponed again. And then it actually finally just got canceled. I was so frustrated because I really wanted to learn to do this. Well, the quilt store was nice enough to give me the pattern, and I found a quilt teacher to show me how, because actually the quilt store refunded me for the class. But they gave me the pattern, which was very lovely of them. Well, that was back in 2021, and I have been quilting ever since. And so far, I've made about 9 quilts, and I have absolutely no intention of stopping. Why? Because I am continuing to receive healing and receive confirmation of the healing of this verbal abuse that I endured for so many years. How? Well, quilting is a very long and slow process. I haven't kept track, and I keep saying I'm going to, but I'm going to say it easily takes over 40 hours to make a quilt. From choosing the pattern, buying the fabric, cutting the pieces, sewing, quilting, sewing on the binding. I mean, it is a very long process. I had one particular quilt that I made that I had to cut 640 2.5 by 2.5 inch squares. 640. And I never once felt overwhelmed. And let me tell you, that took some time. But what I learned was that working a little at a time eventually gets you to the end. Funny, because that's what I teach my organizing clients. Just chip away at it a little at a time. And I have made mistakes in my quilting. But you know what? It's okay. I keep working at it, and I'm even fixing my mistakes, and I don't any longer have my mom to come help me fix it. And the other night I was working on a pretty simple quilt, and I had to take apart the same area 4 times. 4 times. And instead of getting frustrated and angry, I actually laughed at myself and I said, "Girl, are you ever going to get this?" I wasn't upset. I wasn't frustrated. I didn't want to rip it apart and say, I give up. I'm not finishing this. I just took it apart and fixed it. And then I realized I made a mistake again. But I eventually fixed it. And now it's quite adorable. We all need a way to utilize the right side, which is the creativity of our brain. Because if we stay on the left side, which is logic and reason, we can get on overload. We need balance in everything in our life, and that includes our brain. Recently, I was reading an article in a magazine that said, "Why Women Quilt." I was kind of intrigued, and I found it interesting. And they listed 10 reasons why women quilt. Well, I'll tell you, I found at least 5 of those reasons applied to me. And they're self-expression, charity, make do, healing, art, domesticity, camaraderie, religion, health, and legacy. I thought they were really great. I thought that this writer did a great job in kind of covering why women quilt. Because for me, I love the self-expression I get to use because, yeah, I may follow a pattern, but I'm choosing the fabric and the designs of the fabric. And, I may tweak a few things here and there, and I've actually designed a quilt myself. And I love the charity part because, frankly, I am making these quilts and giving them away. There's just so many quilts one person needs. I may try to sell some, but I have given a number of them away. And I have been incredibly healed. And it's been very healing for me as I get to work through this past trauma, pain, and those false belief systems that I've adopted. And quilting's been like an art for me because I get to use my God-given creativity. And what can I say about camaraderie? There's nothing more fun than getting together with my crafting friends and having a crafting all-day event on a Saturday. I love this quote from something called the Church of Craft. It says, when we find moments of creating in our everyday activities, we also find simple satisfaction. Oh my gosh, and do I find satisfaction? It is just something of health for me. Doing something you love and something that is causing your brain to continue to grow can be nothing but healthy. Lastly, leaving a legacy. I hope that my quilting gifts will be something everyone enjoys from me. I want to impart my heart of love for people through my quilts and just to let them know that they are loved as well. And I love this statement from Sandra Dallas. It said, in the past, a woman didn't leave much behind in the world to show she's been there. Even the children she bore and raised got their father's name. But her quilts, now that was something she could pass on. Wasn't that beautiful? I just loved it. So what is your craft of choice? What do you do to release the creativity in you? And remember, you have creativity in you. You may just not have discovered it yet. So if you don't know what that is, then let's chat so we can uncover your God-given gift and get you started. I promise you, you will be happy that you did. I'd love to coach you into something that could bring you love, joy, health, and even some peace. Let's schedule a 30-minute free chat just by clicking the link below. And don't forget, if this message blessed you, please give it a like and share it with others. So many people are living with their trauma right now, living with trauma and fear, and then don't even realize that they can be healed and they can walk in the fullness of life. Please know I am speaking from experience. And lastly, my mission and my passion is to help you know that you are loved by the Creator of the universe. He created you perfectly, And knowing His love will bring tremendous healing to you. And you can read about my own journey to the love of the Father from my book, Can I Have Your Heart, Daddy? And you can find that link to purchase my book below if you'd like to read my journey. Sometimes reading other people's journeys helps you find your own. So be blessed, friends. Be encouraged. Know that you are loved, that I love you, and the Father of the universe adores you. God bless, and thanks for listening. Thank you, my friends, for taking the time to listen to my podcast. I hope you found it uplifting and encouraging, and that it guides you to having peace, love, joy, and health in your life. If you would like more information on my coaching programs, then go to my website, reginasanchez.com, where you can see the services I offer to give you a fresh start after trauma. You can also find my book, Can I Have Your Heart, Daddy, on Amazon. It is my personal journey back to the heart of my Heavenly Father. Be blessed, be encouraged, and know that you are loved.